Hey all of you beautiful subscribers, I'm Jack Chapple and this is the business news today. And you know what? Let's just jump right into it today. So the very first thing I want to talk about is the iPhone 8. Now take this all with a grain of salt, okay? So there was an insider that came out with an announcement today saying that the iPhone 8 price could potentially, the very base iPhone 8 price can be $1,200. That is the entry level. That is the bottom line one. And the price can go up to, for the upgraded ones for the iPhone 8 Plus or whatever they're going with, that could go up to $1,500. And that is pretty massive news. Actually, the Apple stock went up today roughly, I believe it was 1.18% after this insider news that came out. And that's pretty big because the iPhone 7, remember, that's, I think it came out about last year, a year and a half ago. That initial price was $899 for its launch, for its base model, and that went up to $1,179 for the iPhone 7 Plus. So this can be pretty big news. And there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on here was because this is the iPhone, remember, even just a few years ago, the iPhone 4 or 5, the entry level was like $400, $500, $600. And now just in the past few years, that's essentially doubled. This is becoming a more luxury item that only, actually I was hearing this actually on CNBC saying that the vast majority of iPhone and smartphone users now, they're in dense cities. Before, pretty much anyone could get them in the suburbs, in even rural communities, and people in the city, obviously. But now it's very, very concentrated into people with high incomes that are within cities. Those are the only people that can afford this now, and this is just going with that trend. They are pricing the iPhone at a point where, like, think about this. That the iPhone's going to be $1,200. It could potentially be that high. Now, some Goldman Sachs was saying it would be $1,000. Some analysts on Wall Street were saying $675. This insider in Apple says it was $1,200. It's going to be. And so think about that from a perspective. I mean, the average personal income in the United States is about $33,000, $34,000 now. And this one phone is going to be, what, 3 or 4% of your yearly income, potentially. And that's before taxes. After, it could be 5, 6%. And then when you include phone plans, we're talking like, this could get up to 10% of your yearly income just for one phone. So what do you guys think about this? And you know what, actually, on the topic of the cell phone bill and stuff, it's because data plans in terms of prices have been going down, and in terms of the data you get, it's been going up recently. And so I feel like Apple's really taking advantage of that right now. They're saying like, look, you're saving like $30 a month on your phone bill, $40. Why don't you just put that extra $100 a year into our iPhone, our new iPhone? And so I think that's what they're taking advantage of if they do this. Now, this is all with a grain of salt. It still could be $675. It still could be $1,000. It might be $1,200. But this was big news that came out today. And so be prepared to pay out of all orifices in your body for this next iPhone 8 if you really want it. What do you guys think? Will this affect your investing in Apple? Will it be better for you to invest in Apple because they can make higher profit margins on each phone they sell? What do you guys think is going to happen here? And will you buy the iPhone 8? That's the other question here. I'm not going to get it. I think I still have an iPhone 6. I think this is a 6. I'm not quite sure what this is. I think it's a 6S or 6. I don't even know. But what do you guys think? Are you going to buy it if it is at that price? And what would you buy it if it was at $1,000? Would you buy it if it's at $675? Seriously, leave a comment down below because $1,200. I mean, I'm not blowing that much on a phone right now. It's not worth that upgrade for me right now. But I'd like to hear what you guys think. So anyways, we're going to move on to the very next topic here, which is Amazon launching. It seems every week they're launching a new business plan. I think we were doing groceries last week or 3 or 4 weeks ago, whatever. What was it last week that they were launching? They were getting into something recently. Oh yeah, they're trying to buy the Dish Network, getting into TV and cell phones. And now they're getting into they're officially doing this. This isn't part of like a long-term plan. They just started this and they're launching it in 7 states, in 7 cities actually. So they're rolling out their own version of the Geek Squad. For those of you that don't know what the Geek Squad is, this is well known in Best Buy. Okay, so for Best Buy, they have essentially 1/3 or 1/4 of their employees are Geek Squad members. So 20,000 people that work for Best Buy work for the Geek Squad who repair and install your appliances, or your electronics, or your home systems, your smart systems, and so on. And so Amazon's just like, you know what, let's try that for ourselves. Because you know what, we have Amazon Echo. Why don't we just have our own Geek Squad? And then we can take an extra cut. We're doing what Apple's doing in a way. Like how whenever your Apple thing breaks, you're not allowed to fix it yourself. not allowed to fix it yourself. You have to go to the Apple store to get it fixed because you can't open up your computers anymore, which is complete horse crap. Trying to keep a PG here. And so Amazon's going to do the same thing now. Amazon's going to potentially close in on the repair and installation market here. So I got some quotes here from this article actually. So I'll leave the link in the description if you want to check out the article. But the new Amazon Smart Home Services store, that's what it's called, on its website allows users to book appointments for installations or free consultations. Company experts will answer questions and set up products like smart lights, thermostats, and of course, Amazon's line of smart devices. And the next thing here is service fees vary. So for example, the price to set up and personalize an Amazon Fire TV is $10, while Echo B3 smart thermostat installation is $99. Geek Squad prices vary too. TV installations is $150, and Wi-Fi starts at $100. So this is really, really big news here. They're just branching out into everything. They're taking over everything. And you know what? I wasn't even going to talk about this. I didn't even write this in my notes here. But they are launching for Amazon Prime Day, which is coming up in I think 3 days. No, tomorrow actually. I think it's tomorrow. They're saying that you can get 4 months of streaming music from Amazon for 99 cents. 99 cents. Their main competitor for that is Apple. They're trying to take some of the market share away from Apple for all of those things, for everything relating to Apple here. And so they're really getting into everything here. This is getting a little bit monopoly-ish. And it's making me a little bit nervous here in terms of they're going to be one company that can potentially own the world. And I'm not exaggerating this. They're branching out really fast, and what's their cap rate? What's their cap right now? Amazon stock, their cap's what, 560 million? 483 billion. Why'd I say million? I meant billion. So they're going crazy right now. Their stock's up 1.8% today. They're branching out into everything. So this is, what do you guys think about all this? They're now branching out into repair and installation. By the way, because of this announcement, one of our stock market losers today is Best Buy. So for example here, Best Buy stock, let's see if this updates here on time. It's down 6.29%. 6.29% just because of this announcement here. Simply because Amazon's like, you know what, we're going to make our own Geek Squad. And so this is it's absolutely crazy here. There were some really big losers today. We're going to get to that near the end. But wow, that was another big announcement. And you know what? We're going to get into this actually a little bit more here, this Amazon stuff. So there was this really cool article. I'm going to link to it down in the description below here. But it talks about how much havoc and how much market share, and how much it's killed, how much Amazon has killed other companies' market caps, and how it's devalued a lot of those companies simply because Amazon's branching out into everything here. So this is really, really interesting here. So again, they made this article just because of the Best Buy announcement that happened today. So the Amazon announced Geek Squad. Best Buy stock goes down 6%. Okay, so here's another one here. So just because of the Whole Foods announcements, it's been about a month since then, right? Or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And so after that announcement, Costco down 15%, Target down 9%, Kroger down 7%, Walmart down 5%. So those major, superstore, department store, whatever you want to call them, they're all down massive since Amazon made that announcement about Whole Foods. And the next one here, remember the Nike deal, which I talked about, how Nike's partnering with Amazon so that Nike can sell stuff on Amazon directly to the consumer instead of going through their own website or having third parties do it through Amazon. So after that announcement, Dick's Sporting Goods down 3%, Foot Locker down 3%, JCPenney down 3%, Macy's down 1.6%, Under Armour down 0.5%. This is just a week or two ago. This announcement happened here. So those are all down. Blue Apron, after Amazon and Amazon Go stuff and Amazon Food Delivery, Amazon Groceries, that has really killed the IPO. Remember, Blue Apron wanted to IPO at like $14, and then honestly, right after the Whole Foods announcement, they dropped their estimate down to about $10 to $11. It IPO'd at $10.50, which was about the estimate. And as of today, Blue Apron's at like $8. $8 a share. So just because of the Amazon deals. Think about that. They're single-handedly killing other multi-billion-dollar companies just because Amazon's branching out into all of these fields here. And it's just amazing what we're seeing right now. Amazon's just they're just taking off right now, and I'm bullish on them as a company, but I'm also really worried about them too. They are overvalued, but like, are they the only company? And I've said this before, are they the only company out there right now which is extremely overvalued on the balance sheet, but is probably going to be worth it in the next 5 years? 5, 10, 15 years, assuming that they're allowed to create this monopoly that they're trying to create. And imagine if Amazon goes down and goes bankrupt, like a bunch of those, all their stuff goes up in flames. Like, they're not going to anytime soon, but still, it made me really think about that today. Like, what if Amazon just, for whatever reason, something were to happen and they were to just disappear as a company, were to go bankrupt? All of the stuff that they've branched out in just goes up in flames. And man, that would be a really big hit to the world economy, the North American economy and the world economy. I was just thinking about that today. It's not going to go bankrupt anytime soon, but I'm interested to see what happens. So the next thing I want to talk about here, which is not Amazon related in any way, shape, or form, is so it was actually, I'm following up on a news story which I talked about, which I would follow up on last week. I think it was Friday or Thursday. So remember Warren Buffett? I talked about this. Warren Buffett was making a bid, a $9 billion bid, a $9 billion flat bid for this Texas energy company, which its main holder was going bankrupt. It's called Oncor, or Oncor. I think it's that, whatever. Oncor is what I'm going to pronounce it like. And so Warren Buffett said, I'm going to buy this for $9 billion. And the Oncor said, that's a good bid. We'll probably take it. However, there is this hedge fund run by Paul Singer, or Singer, whatever you want to pronounce it. It's called Elliot Management, and they actually are considering outbidding Warren Buffett for the Oncor company for $9.3 billion. And this is something that Warren Buffett doesn't like getting into. He does not like getting into bidding wars. He likes to swoop in and take up companies, and because he is Warren Buffett, he assumes that they will accept his offer even if it's not the best offer on the table. However, because this is an established creditor hedge fund, Warren Buffett might actually lose this deal here. And so I just thought that was really interesting. I'm not going to touch on it for too long here. But Warren Buffett might actually lose a bid, which doesn't really happen too often. So I'll keep you updated on what happens there. Actually, I want to see what the Oncor stock is like. I think that they're Oncor stock. I don't even know if they're a public company, to be honest. They're not a public company, I don't think so. I just thought that was interesting. I would touch on it, and I will update you guys as I promised, and I'll keep you posted. So the next thing I want to talk about is Wells Fargo. Remember their big scandal? So their big scandal that happened last year, I think it was last September. I believe I was actually out on a trip in LA or something when this broke. And it was, there's this big crisis that came out saying that millions of customers had fake accounts opened up in their names. So why did this happen, and why was this bad? Well, these customers were paying fees for these accounts that they never opened. And why were these accounts being opened? It was because the salespeople working at Wells Fargo had to hit a minimum sales target, unreachable sales targets, in order for them to keep their jobs, or else they would be fired. And this was really, really big news. Actually, there's a really good podcast on this by NPR. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but it came out last year sometime and it helped me become a lot more knowledgeable on this subject last year. And there was a bunch of salespeople that they interviewed and saying, like, look, you have to open up like X amount of accounts which are extremely unreachable. So look, you have to open up fake accounts or else you're going to lose your job. And that's the way it is. And so they opened up a bunch of fake accounts, and well, as of today, a federal judge granted preliminary approval over the weekend for Wells Fargo's $142 million national class action settlement. So they've come up with a settlement for all the people that were affected by this. The court ruled that the settlement, which covers fake accounts back to 2002, fair, reasonable, and adequate. That's what they considered the settlement here. So one more thing I want to read, or two more things. The $142 million national settlement is open to customers who claim that Wells Fargo improperly opened checking or savings accounts, credit cards, lines of credit, or identity theft identity theft services in their names between 2002 and April 2017. Wells Fargo admitted last September that 2 million potential unauthorized checking and credit card accounts were opened between 2011 and 2015 alone. The bank blamed unrealistic sales goals for this. The outrage forced the ouster of longtime CEO John Stumpf and the restructuring of Wells Fargo's sales targets, and it spawned federal and local investigations. So that was just this is just an update on a big news story. So I thought that the stock, because of this announcement, might go down, and it actually just stayed the same today. People didn't really care. They thought that this was like just a suitable announcement that happened for them, that it just got past $142 million. So I just thought I'd update you guys on that, because that's a pretty big news story. I mean, we're talking here $142 million going towards roughly 2 million people. So what's that? That's what, $70 a person is going to be getting, roughly. So big announcement here. But you know, this is just another thing that banks have to face all the time. I mean, banks like this in the United States, and Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, and they get hit with fines like this every single year, it seems. So this is just another one that they get hit with. And you know, for Wells Fargo, $142 million is, I mean, they have a market cap of almost $300 billion right now. So this is just going to be a speed bump, slap on the wrist, and hopefully people will be able to recuperate all of the money that they lost because of Wells Fargo's salespeople. So the next thing I want to talk about, actually, I think we're going to move on to stock market winners and losers. So the first big winner of today was actually Nvidia, and it was for an actual reason. A tech stock actually went up for a legitimate reason. And so here's what it was. They were up, I think that they're up 3.8% today. Roughly 3.8%. No, 4.73%. So they've gone up higher in the since I've started filming this video in the past 30-40 minutes. So they're up about 4.73% today. So why is this? Well, it was because it was announced or found out. Well, actually, it was a few reasons. So there was a few analyst firms, investment firms that upgraded Nvidia from, you know, whatever, a buy to a super buy, or whatever you want to call it, right? To a strong buy as a company. And so why were they announcing this? Well, it was because a few of the firms found out that Toyota was going to be very aggressive in implementing the driver assistance systems that they're buying from Nvidia, that they've partnered with Nvidia for. And so, you know, this was announced in May, but people didn't really know how they were going to implement these systems, how aggressive they were going to be, was it going to be in all the cars and some of the cars, so on. And so it came out today that someone was doing some math that this was potentially $1.7 billion in additional revenue for Nvidia starting next year. So this could be really big news. And so the stock went up 4.7% today. Again, we see these fluctuations in tech companies all the time. Nvidia is probably going to be down tomorrow after this. I mean, people tend to overreact to the news. However, you know, if this is true, additional 1.7 billion in revenue, that is very significant. For me, for someone that doesn't really listen to the news in terms of my investment strategies too much, I mean, this is actually legitimately big news if this were true. And so I'll leave a link down below. You guys can check it out. In the link below. So some more stock market winners actually today were fertilizer companies. So this was a really strange one. Actually, I'll talk about sectors near the end, because all in all, today in the stock market was a fairly decent day. But fertilizer companies were up like 6% today. So CF Industries, their $7 billion company, they were up 6.5% today. Mosaic Company, they were up 8.43% today. So they were really big winners today. So why was this? It's because wheat prices have gone way up. We're announced to be way up today. So actually Mosaic, wow, they really, think about this. Mosaic stock, this Mosaic Co., their stock price was $153 in June of 2008. And then in December 2008, it went down to, it went down to what, $20 a share? Oh my God, they got hit hard. That might be the worst bubble bursting in all of the stocks that I've ever seen in 2008. Well, apart from the ones that went bankrupt, like some of the financial ones went really down, right? But still, massive drop-offs there. So yeah, fertilizer industries are way up today. I mean, we can talk about some of the other big tech companies. Amazon up 1.8% today, Google up 1%, Tesla up 1%, and Netflix up 1.66%, and Facebook up 1.36%. So those were the pretty big winners today. But wow, did we see some really big losers today in the retail sector? We're actually going to talk about, we'll talk about those maybe in a second here. So Best Buy's probably the biggest loser today. No, second biggest loser today. Abercrombie and Finch. Abercrombie and Finch down 21% today. So why is this? It's because it was actually for another legitimate reason, is because they announced that they are no longer looking for people to buy the company. They cannot find potential buyers for the company, and so that single-handedly cut down their market cap from about $800 million or $900 million down to about $650 today. So they were down 21% today alone, and man, this is just another clothing retail company that's just been getting hit hard. I mean, since 2011, they're down 85%. Since 2007, they're down 88%. They're just getting hit hard. This is the Amazon effect we're seeing here. Indirect Amazon effect in online shopping. So Abercrombie got hit hard today. Let's see some more. Let's see. I was going to talk about GoPro today, but we'll talk about that in a second here. Macy's down 6.9% today. Again, this is just another big company got hit hard today for whatever reason. They're trying to stay away from bankruptcy. We're seeing this is what happened with Sears. Remember, in Canada, all the Sears stores are closing. Sears is essentially going bankrupt and trying to transition into a more like hip, small store instead of a big, giant department store where they can't pay the rent, where they can't pay the lease. And so Macy's is going to have to do the same thing. They're down 7% today, and wow, since 2006, they're down 73%. Since 2015, they're down 70%. So we're going to see what happens here. I mean, they actually had a bigger drop-off between 2006 and 2008. Actually, Macy's was down 92% in that 2-year span. And so could they rebound? I don't really know. We're going to see what happens here. Is this a one-time thing? They did this before in 2006, 2007, 2008, and rebounded. It took them 7 years to rebound. And so actually, over that 7-year span, they actually went up 1,000% up until 2015, and now they've gone down a ton. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the Macy's stock right now? Another big bad one, big loss today was the Gap. So the Gap is down 6.3%. Again, this is just all these staple, clothing department stores. They're just getting killed recently. So Gap down 6.3% today. They just haven't been They haven't been the same since the year 2000. They've been down 58% since then. Let's see another one. Kohl's, we're talking big name brands are the biggest losers today. Normally they're like tech companies that no one's ever heard of, for the most part, that are $1 billion market cap companies. These are all like massive department store companies. They're all down today. So Kohl's down 4.2%. Again, this is just what we're seeing. The Amazon effect. It's just killing everything. So those are the major stock market losers today. However, I do want to touch on Snapchat. I want to touch on Snapchat today because today marks the first time where they are at a lower share price than they were when they IPO'd. So for those of you that don't remember, Snapchat actually IPO'd at $17 per share. That was their initial IPO target, and that's what the shares were bought for within the first 20 minutes that they were open to the public. However, the shares rose to $27 per share. They were up like 44% on the first day, on their initial IPO day. So they did IPO for $17, and as of today, their share price is at $16.99. Which is 1 cent less than their IPO, and this just further proves why I don't buy those startup tech IPO companies. This is why I've never done it, and I never will, ever. Because I always hear stories, like, think about this is why I wanted to touch on GoPro too, because GoPro, same story. I mean, look at them. When they IPO'd, they were $35 a share. They went up to $86 in 2014, and think about this. Since they were $86 per share in 2014, they're now at $7.96. And it's because, why is this? It's because these tech companies, they IPO because they want to cash out. And they can't turn a profit. These companies, they can't turn a profit, and they have to go up against these massive companies. I mean, Snapchat has to go up against Facebook. Facebook's going to win that battle. I'm sorry, Snapchat. Facebook's winning that battle. They have so much more money to work with. They can invest more into the technology. They're turning profits 24/7. Meanwhile, Snapchat, you just can't compete. Facebook's doing what you are doing and better. By Facebook, I mean Instagram, right? Because Facebook owns Instagram. And so GoPro, they can't compete with all these giant companies that are coming up with all these cool HD cameras, all these whatever, right? All this cool tech. And GoPro just can't keep up. I mean, GoPro was that trend. I mean, cool, I love their videos, right? I love when people wear the GoPros on top of their heads. I love when GoPro releases like volcano footage and stuff like that. But it's this trend. It's the hot trend that people bought into in 2014, 2015. And then, what do you know? The company that can't turn a profit isn't worth much anymore. I mean, GoPro was probably worth, what, around $8 billion just 3 years ago, and now it's at 1.14 today. So what do you guys think of these companies, GoPro and Snapchat? I tie them together because they're just these tech companies. They IPO'd very hot, and now they're struggling to make money. So that's my thoughts on the stock market winners and losers today. I feel sorry for all of you that invested in GoPro and Snapchat, especially if you bought it for above 26 bucks or 27 bucks, whatever the price was at the day after the IPO. And yeah, I'm really down on Snapchat. I don't think that they can compete. I hope that they do. I hope that they innovate. I hope that they come back. I really hope that all companies, like, I'm just a pro-business person. I don't want any company to fail. I want all companies to do well as long as that they make their money in an ethical and moral way. And yeah, so actually I'm going to be looking at some ETFs to buy, actually. I think I'll be looking at them in the next 2 weeks. So check out my website if you want to see me do a breakdown of that stuff. So actually, yeah, check out my stock market program in the link below if you're interested in seeing my portfolio, interested in me looking at stocks. Like, I've been recording me actually like looking at stocks for 30 minutes to an hour at a time and doing a breakdown of what I want to buy into and why, which company's better and why, comparisons of what I'm doing, you know, what I want to buy at the time, kind of thing. So if you're interested in me doing those breakdowns, I've done, I think, 4 or 5 of those right now in the past month. So if you want me to do more of those, check out stock market program in the link below. And that's going to wrap this video up. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people, and I'll see you guys in the next video.